is this rock bottom? I thought was already at rock bottom, but they've removed the flagging and have taken us another layer down.
And she went absolutely hell for leather on Labour. She destroyed them inside the Commons.
People like me who despise the Tories going, good on you, mate, good on you.
200 videos the Lib Dems might get a mention. It just goes to show how irrelevant they are.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's amazing guest, and again, returning guest is my friend, that press and journalist. How you doing, Ash?
Really good, thanks, Nick. How are you?
I am good. Hope you're having a good weekend. We've not had a chat recently on how all the political parties are doing. You're my go-to man when I want a general breakdown of how well or poor all our main political parties are doing. And we seem to do that every month, which is great. So let's jump into that today. You can pick the parties. How are 4 major parties doing?
And actually, we'll start with the Tories for a change, because there's so much to say about Labour all the time, but I'll actually give them a little bit of credit. I think they're being forced into it, but Badenoch is actually doing pretty good at the moment. She's had a couple of good weeks, maybe 2 or 3 good weeks at PMQs. She's skewering Starmer every single week because she's changed her tactics now. And this is something I made a video on quite a while ago. And I said, stop asking him questions at PMQs. He doesn't answer them. He's a disingenuous liar anyway. Don't ask him a question. Have a rant. Get your points out there. That's all you need to do. Make sure people understand. I know it's hard to know what the Tories really stand for at the moment, but get your points out there and try and put your party's position forward on everything, and then just slip some crappy question in at the end so you're sticking with protocol. And that's what she's been doing. And when it came to debating the national inquiry into grooming gangs, I wouldn't say she lost her temper. Well, no, she did lose her temper a bit. I don't mind that. And she went absolutely hell for leather on Labour. She destroyed them inside the Commons. And somebody had finally briefed her properly on what, right, they're going to accuse us of this, this, and this. How do we come back at that and that? And she had all the lines. She was brilliant. And as a result, they've actually climbed a couple of points recently, the Tory party. So they're sitting in, like, a new poll has come out showing that they're in second place now, pushing Labour into third. So I'd say over the last couple of weeks, the Tories have done all right. Jenrick's helping them, of course, because he's out and about everywhere. We know he's on manoeuvres, but it's doing the Tory party good as well. Some of the things that he's doing and uncovering. But when he went down to the tube and stuff and started confronting people, I thought
that was great. That got him so much media time, social media time, and got people like me who despise the Tories going, good on you, mate, good on you.
Yeah, even people that don't like the Tories, the average person in the street have a good idea, like a sense of fairness, if you will. Why am I paying for tube prices when they're not, and they're getting away with it, and no one's doing anything about it? That's the kind of thing that he managed to get out of people, and cross-party voters, if you will, in the street liked that a lot, and he pulled in something like 20 or 30 million views on that video, and it's doing the Tory. I know it's kind of self-serving a bit, but it's doing the Tory party no harm at all. They have come round a little bit. They have started doing better. Badenoch has definitely been forced, though, to start being more forceful now, more assertive with announcements of things that they would do and opposing the government more. It's no good sitting there like they were doing, saying, oh yeah, we agree with the government on this, we agree with him on that, because it's just getting them nowhere. And they've got to get used to the fact that whatever they say for the next few years, people, whether it be in Labour or anybody else, are just going to turn around to them and say, well, you had 14 years, what did you do? So you've got to just accept that, brush it off, and carry on. And that's sort of what she's doing. I'm not saying she'll last, but she's done herself no harm in the last few weeks, definitely.
Yeah, she's doing slightly better than she was, but she was at such a low level that it's quite easy to do better when you were doing that low anyway. There's another Tory MP who's impressing me now. Forgot her first name. It's something Lamb. It might be Lucy Lamb or something like Katie Lamb. She's been asking some great questions around the grooming gangs and stuff like that. She's jumping out at me. I like the way she's trying to hold Labour to account from her bench.
She is, and she's actually a very good speaker. She's quite a rising star, I think, within the Tory party. And before this Parliament, I'd never even heard of her. She's been there for, I think this is her second Parliament.
Right.
She's been there. She's only 34. Um, she's very, very good at the dispatch box. When she's there delivering speeches or taking on ministers when as they do for the relevant departments, she speaks so well. And it's funny to see her. When I see her in the media, she just looks like some teenager, rosy cheeks and that. You just think she was a guest who just, I don't know, a witness or something, or a reporter somewhere, or something like that. But no, she is a very good speaker. She's very eloquent, and I think she's too young to be leader yet, of course. But give her a few years' time, she will be right up there at the forefront of politics. Whether that's in the Tory party or not, if it survives, I don't know. Probably will be the Tory party somewhere. But you could definitely see her as some sort of future leader of a political party, without a doubt.
So last month, what's your score out of 10 for the Tories?
I'll give them a 6. It was a very low benchmark anyway, but they're just starting to show shoots of being a bit braver. They're not too worried now about all the criticism they've been getting. They're just thinking, like me and you said a while ago, you've got 120 MPs. If you lose a few because you annoy them, then so what? You might as well go gung ho and attack the government as much as you possibly can and try and get the public back on side, try and regain a bit of trust. So a 6 out of 10, lots more work to do, but definitely improved.
Right. What's your next party?
Let's do Reform. And I think Reform have actually had a pretty standard couple of weeks. Nothing special. They had the trouble with Zia Yusuf, of course, having to resign over the burqa question that was raised. And I think by the way that was stitch. I think that was a stitch up. I think they knew that Zia Yusuf would resign over that, and it was disappointing to me because he talks about patriotism, and I don't know if I'm in the minority or not, but I quite like Zia Yusuf. I think he speaks well. He's done a lot for the party, and the success of the party with all these local branches they've now got, the council elections, a lot of that was down to him and his hard work, definitely. So I'm not like other people. I think he's done a pretty good job. People just hate him because of the Rupert Lowe affair, don't they? But then he came back into the party. They've appointed David Bull, who is likable. I've never met the guy, but he seems likable. People say he's a nice guy to meet and everything. I don't think he's doing them much favours talking about immigration in the glowing terms that he does, saying it's, what was the quote, the lifeblood of the United Kingdom.
Immigration is the lifeblood of this country. We need immigrant. No, we're an island of immigrants. The same old crap that the left have been saying for decades. He believes it and he just repeats it.
Yeah, and then you've got Richard Tice, who also speaks pro-immigration. They're intelligent people, these lot. They've worked in business. David Bull's a doctor. These aren't stupid people, but
these aren't mistakes. They're saying what they believe.
Well, in that case, then they're in the wrong party, aren't they? Or Reform UK is a complete con, and I'm being conned as well, and shouldn't be voting for it, or shouldn't be a member of it. If the mask is slipping that much, and this is what they genuinely believe, then they'll have one term in office after the next general election, and they'll be booted out, and people will just think, well, we'll go back to the Tories then, or whatever, because these lot are useless as well. Reform are running nearly all of their campaigns really on immigration.
Illegal immigration.
Illegal immigration. They know it's the biggest issue people think about. People should actually think about legal immigration more as well, by the way, because the numbers are absolutely ridiculous.
Illegal immigration is less than 1% of our immigration figures. It's less than 1%.
Yeah, exactly. So they should be looking at legal immigration as well, but they never seem to talk about that, unfortunately. But then they don't really have to either, because the other parties' track records on immigration, both legal and illegal, are shocking as well. So Reform are staying well ahead in the polls, average 6 to 10 points ahead, depends which poll you're looking at. They would come, at the moment, they would be the majority party in the next parliament. I hope it happens. I hope they will actually do something about immigration, both legal and illegal. I'm not 100% convinced, but they're still the best party for me to vote for. I don't see any other alternative, really. I'm not going to vote for the legacy parties. I'm sick to death of them. And I think that's what a lot of the country are feeling as well.
Yeah, at this moment in time, there is no option. And even if reform only do a fraction of the things they're saying they're going to do, that amounts to so much more than any of the other parties would ever do. So at this moment in time, reform for me are the only party who I would vote for at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm trying to think of any other party that could challenge him. There isn't really. You've got the fringe parties. I mean, if you look at the Greens, they're doing well relatively. Relatively successfully compared to how they have been in the past. The Lib Dems, nobody. I don't think anyone's taking them seriously. I think Ed Davey's taking this clown trick thing so far now that no one's actually listening anymore at all. So it is literally a three-horse race between the Tories, Labour, and the Conservatives. Sorry, the Tories, Reform, and the Conservatives. And Reform are going to win that race hands down because purely by the fact that people are absolutely sick of the establishment and they just want some sort of change. Hopefully they're not the letdown. Hopefully they're not letdowns.
Yeah, well, only time will tell on that. But at this moment in time, there's no one else to vote for. What's your score out of 10 for reform this last month?
7. I believe they're not having a great, they're not announcing loads of stuff. I think you'll see another bounce in the polls for them when the Doge stuff starts emerging. They've already brought some stuff out. They found that the councils have been splurging money on, and
buying TV licenses for immigrants.
Yeah, and driving licenses. Two. I even heard turn up to an airfield trying to get the pilot's licenses. I mean, what's going on is just remarkable. And in these areas now where if
I've not heard that one, so we're training illegal immigrants to fly planes. I'm having 9/11 flashbacks on this one.
Well, funny enough, someone made that comparison. They said, it might have been Richard Tice actually. He said, let's just forget 9/11 for a second, but there's definitely connotations there, isn't there? And this flight school said that a couple of immigrants turned up and said, yeah, they want to get the pilot's licenses. I'm like, absolutely remarkable. It's just, I can't believe it. But some of the stuff they are uncovering is very, very costly. Was it 30 million? No, 10 million for that bridge to nowhere in Lincolnshire. If anybody watching this wants to go online, just have a look. Lincolnshire Bridge to Nowhere. It is literally a bridge going over a road. At either side of this bridge, the road continues into like a turning circle, if you will. It doesn't connect to another road. This bridge just goes over and you can't even get to it. It doesn't actually lead to anywhere. And it just sits there at a cost of millions of pounds to the taxpayer, and it serves no purpose at all. So some of the things they're finding, that's going to bump them up in the polls when they started. And these council workers in these areas apparently now are joining unions as fast as they possibly can, which isn't going to save them either because trade unions are basically toothless. These people are guilty of gross misconduct, wasting money in public office, and they're guilty of incompetence on a grand scale, and no trade union's going to be able to save them. And Reform UK need to get these people booted out as soon as possible.
Yeah. Well, we started off talking about the Lib Dems then and got back onto reform, so let's jump back to Lib Dems. What's your score at the moment for Lib Dems?
To be honest with you, I haven't got that much to say about them. They're
irrelevant.
Yeah, there's such an irrelevance. How they managed to win so many seats in the general election by going down water slides, I don't know. I would question the integrity and the intelligence of the British electorate who voted for them. But they've played that card for so long now, and they can see it. I think they can actually see themselves. It's not going to work anymore. Ed Davey even came out last week, I think it was, and said that he'd be up for renegotiating or redefining the ECHR's role in the UK, which is not something you would expect the Lib Dems to say. But even he said that. They're realising they've got to actually start acting like a proper professional party, because the local elections, yes, they won best part of 400 councillors, but that was nowhere near what they were expecting. They expected to do a lot better than that. And people are just, they might laugh at someone, falling off a water slide or whatever for a minute or so. Then they turn away and go, right, well, what's your policy on anything? Because I don't know what it is. So there's such an irrelevance. I don't think people are really paying attention to them. I'm certainly not. I spend, it does actually show, like yourself or me, when we make videos on YouTube or whatever, or even write articles. How often do you actually find yourself talking about the Lib Dems or writing an article about the Lib Dems? Because for me, I bet it's one in every 200 videos the Lib Dems might get a mention. It just goes to show how irrelevant they are.
I only speak about the Lib Dems with you, and that's because we've got this formula now where we talk about the four main parties. If it wasn't for that, I would never mention the Lib Dems because they're completely irrelevant.
Yeah, this is it exactly. So I've got nothing else to say about him. If I'd say, I'd give them a 5 out of 10 because they just sail along and do absolutely nothing. And and as a result, they're dropping in the polls. They're down to something like 11% now in some polls. People aren't taking them seriously. People aren't interested in them. They're looking at reform. They're looking at the Tories, and they're looking at the Labour Party.
What about the other small party, the Greens?
Oh, difficult one. The Greens have had, I would say, a bad week, and I don't know the name of this MP. I bet you've seen the photo going around. I don't even know if it's a man or a woman, is the truth. And this is when they were debating what I think is a disgusting piece of legislation that's just gone through, legalizing what I would call the murder of babies, the abortion bill, which I think is despicable, allowing people to abort children up to birth.
Up to birth.
Which is absolutely despicable. I'm frantically trying to find a picture to get the name of this MP, and I can't think who it was. But this person started jeering and shouting across the house at different MPs who were against this bill. I'll say one thing for the Greens on a more local level. The councils, they seem to be picking up a decent vote share in some areas, 15-20%. They're not winning many council seats. I have seen them win a couple. They've just done quite well in a council by-election in Liverpool, coming second to Labour. Labour dropped 20% of their vote share in Liverpool, which is huge. The Greens picked up a lot of that. So I think they'll carry on picking up the odd councillor here and there. But you look at their manifesto, you look at what sort of people are inside the Green Party. They're not this fluffy, be kind mob. They are a very, very dangerous bunch of people. But basically communists, that's what they are. Marxists or communists. So they'll never climb any higher than what they are. They've got, is it 2 MPs now or 3, one or the other?
2, I think.
2. I think that's the highest they'll ever get. And again, they can mouth off all they want, but everything they talk about are fringe issues, and that's why they'll never grow.
Let me throw this at you, because I think we're going to see the growth of the Green Party. The Green Party now are attracting and courting the Islamist vote because of Free Palestine and that. A lot of their councillors who were voted in the last election as Green councillors, some of them were Islamists. And it's an easy way for people across the country, Islamists across the country, to have a political party. It used to be Labour. Labour are losing the Muslim vote. But until someone sets up an Islamist political party, the Greens are going to benefit from that. So I can see the Greens growing. I mean, I don't mean winning power and stuff like that, but I can see them getting, if the general election was held today, wouldn't surprise me if Greens came away with 10 MPs. I can see them winning more council seats. It's a problem that we all need to have our eye on. The Greens now are not just communists, not just eco nutcases, they're now Islamists as well.
Yeah, they are, yeah. But I think you've also got other parties that want that vote as well, haven't you? The Lib Dems have had people like that in their parties. Like you said, Labour used to have that sort of person. They don't anymore. But yeah, the Greens seem happy to court these people, which, it bewilders me. Maybe they're just desperate to get some recognition in certain areas, I suppose. That's what they're doing. And some of these councillors, by the way, I think have already had to resign because they've turned out to be so extreme. They weren't vetted properly. They've already had to resign their seats because some of these stuff they've come out of in the past. Yes, we could. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Actually, we could see a bit of a growth spurt in the Green Party, but I don't believe it'll ever be anything significant. I can't see them ever getting above 3 or 4 MPs personally, but I could be wrong.
Well, we will wait and see. So your score for the Greens?
Um, Probably a 6 because they are picking up decent vote shares. They're just not picking up enough to actually win, to win seats.
Yeah, and the Greens are always there. They're always on every ballot paper you ever get. They're always there.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're active. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Let's end with the government. How are Labour doing?
Um,
I don't know how I asked that with a straight face. How are Labour doing?
it's been another awful few weeks for the. They just can't seem to get anything right. The latest poll now has them in third place, sitting on just 21%, with the Tories sitting on 22. Reform UK sitting on 29. We've got our allies, one of our only Middle Eastern allies in Israel, now completely ignoring us. They've sanctioned 2 of Israel's ministers. Um, they're basically pro-Iranian at this point, I think. We've got the US now refusing to share intelligence with us as well.
Wow, I missed that.
Yeah, so we don't even know. Like, Israel's very successful attack on Iran last week. The UK had no idea it was going to happen. Only the US and Israel knew. But interestingly, the Jordanians, the Saudis, and the Qataris were all told. But the UK wasn't told it was going to happen because they don't trust the UK government any longer. Um, you've got David Lammy now announcing that he's going to go and meet the Iranian government with some European delegation to try and find some sort of compromise that the Israelis and the US will agree to. Well, that's gone. That time's gone. Starmer called a Cobra meeting, and I made a video just laughing about it. Like, what are you calling a Cobra meeting on? You're not getting intelligence from the Israelis. You're not getting it from the Iranians. You're not getting it from the US. So you actually don't have a clue what your Cobra meeting's about. He's going to sit there and say, "Oh, this sounds bad, doesn't it?" Like, that's it. And then Starmer's now saying to Trump, apparently, please don't launch an attack on Iran because we might get terrorist attacks in the UK. Like, what kind of moron is this guy? I can't honestly think. No, I can't think of a single minister that's had a good few weeks. Even John Healey, who I don't mind too much, he's the defence minister. He's not done too much of a bad job actually. We've just seen Bryce Norton getting broken into.
Yes.
This is his department. He should be all over this, and it took him hours to even speak about it. NHS, where people, I disagreed with this, but people were saying Wes Streeting seemed credible. You've now got junior doctors about to go out for another 20% pay rise. The consultants have now announced they're coming back for another 35% as well. They're going on strike. Nurses are going on strike. They're pretending that the NHS waiting lists are coming down, but they're not. People are just having appointments cancelled, then being moved to different waiting lists. So it looks like appointments are coming down.
Mm.
Everything with this government is smoke and mirrors and barefaced lies. And I mean that. Usually you could say, oh, they've just been economical with the truth. They've just chosen their words carefully. They're not. They just barefaced lie to the public. And that's what they've been doing for a long time now. And people are absolutely sick of it. I don't know if you saw Question Time a couple of weeks ago when what's his name? Darren Jones. He's Rachel Reeves' deputy, and he sat there on television and tried to lie
Oh yeah.
by saying that the vast majority of people on those small boats were women and children crossing into this country. A BBC audience erupted at him,
Yeah.
and he absolutely shit himself. To tell you the truth, he didn't know what to do. He's like, "Oh my god, it's not worked. The line hasn't worked. Oh my, I've been caught out on my lies." And then he tried to clarify it later on. Absolute rubbish.
It was a lie too far. That one was a lie too far.
Yeah, when even a BBC audience, which is probably stacked to the rafters of Labour voters and Lib Dem voters, and maybe 1 or 2 Reform UK voters up in the corner somewhere where nobody can see them, erupt like that, he knew, oh no, I've made a massive mistake here. And then he tried to say, oh, it was just one boat that I saw coming in that had some women and children on it. All right, come on. This is now officially the most unpopular party, the most unpopular government, the most unpopular prime minister this country's ever seen. Imagine after 11 months that you dropped to third place in the polls.
Yeah.
It's remarkable what we've seen.
Even Andrew Neil, who I think's great, who rips everybody apart. He doesn't have favourites. If you come on his show and you speak rubbish, he rips you apart. He wrote an article last month saying this is the first government is ever known to barefaced lie. He said they're all economical with the truth. They all twist it. Because this is the first government in his generation who barefaced lies. So even he can see the changes. Now with Labour may have a problem at the moment with benefit cuts. We've got Labour MPs now resigning the whip, kicking back, not happy. I mean, even the Labour whip has just actually resigned the whip herself.
No, she's resigned being a whip.
Right, that's it.
She's still in the party, Vicky Foxcroft.
Yeah. So what do you think is going to happen with this? Is this going to be only half a dozen people, or is this going to grow and grow and grow? Labour reducing benefits, especially disability benefit.
Clearly, it's a massive concern for the government because they're not saying that they're going to punish anybody who votes against them. Now, if they were confident it was just a handful of MPs, they would say, if you vote against us, we'll take the whip off you. So that says to me, this is a big, big rebellion brewing. Rumour has it that over 100 could rebel against Starmer. And these people aren't rebelling because they're so bothered about the public. They're rebelling because they want to keep their seats. So, and they know, I think now anyway, that Starmer is not going to lead them into the next general election. They know that they need to try and keep their own voter bases in their local areas and have a hope under whoever the next leader is to try and keep their seat next time round. These whips have a lot of power in the party. That woman will have had maybe 40, 50 MPs, maybe more, underneath her that she had to keep in line. And she could probably galvanise those people to vote as well. And now the true test, of course, is going to be, do these people really mean it? Have they actually got principles, and are they going to vote against the government? Or are they going to take the coward's way out and abstain? That's the true thing here. And if the government aren't willing to punish these people, then that sets a precedent for future votes then. And they're going to vote against, they'll continue to vote against Starmer as well. So I think the rebellion, it's not if it passes, it will pass. The benefits cuts will pass. But I think if you see 80 to 100 MPs voting against the government, that's, I don't know if it's Starmer out territory, but you're not far off this government collapsing. If that many people are willing to openly vote against the government, they're in serious, serious trouble.
The government can only take so many punches before it falls, and this may not be the punch, but it's one of the punches contributing to the eventual fall.
Yeah, it's the humiliation. It's the fact that they've lost we know they've lost the country, they've lost the people. That's done. But if you've lost your own MPs as well, then that's a different matter altogether. We can't vote them out until another 4 years' time. His own MPs can vote him out tomorrow if they wanted to. They could start a vote of no confidence tomorrow, and eventually it will come to a head, and he will have to go. But I'm not sure it'll be over this. Ironically, it's actually something that I'm quite in favour of. I don't mind cutting the benefits back, but it's obviously these Labour MPs. I suppose they've got their own beliefs, which is fair enough, and they don't think that's the sort of thing the Labour Party should be doing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm sure they're doing it for a variety of reasons. Self-preservation's one, but I would imagine most of them also believe in it as well. That's why they joined the Labour Party in the first place. Let's end on this. Let's end on the most disturbing new law we've passed, I think, in my lifetime. And it was rushed through a couple of nights ago, and it's the new addition to the abortion bill. So there's lots of things online saying we've now legalized abortion up to birth. That's technically true, but for people who don't understand, this government, and I think 6 of 8 Tories voted for this as well, a pregnant woman now can kill her baby up to it being born, and she will not be prosecuted. If a doctor helps her, the doctor will be prosecuted for child destruction, but she won't be prosecuted. So what we've done now is we've said to women, if you don't want that baby at any stage in your pregnancy, there'll be things online you can buy. There'll be backstreet abortions now doing this. So now we've basically unofficially legalized abortion up to birth and will never punish the mother for murdering her child. And I can't believe it got passed. I can't believe it got passed with such a big majority. It's I'm up. It's as if I didn't think we could fall any further, Ash, any lower, Ash. But this is evil. We look at the Aztecs and we go, how evil could you be to sacrifice your children to a god? How evil are these? How evil are some of these Muslim countries that mutilate their baby girls and cut off, parts of their genitalia? How evil are you? We're now aborting babies up to birth. I'm just shocked.
I know. I'm the same as you. I do. I do accept that in a couple of extreme circumstances, abortion could be the right to go. Could be like an acceptable way to go for a woman. For example, if she's been raped or something, she's so traumatized, she doesn't want the baby, etc. I can accept it in some circumstances like that. But to legalize abortion when children are born prematurely all the time, some are born at 20 odd weeks and they survive and they go on to be healthy human beings and have a good life. We are now saying that a fully formed child is going to be killed. This is state-sponsored murder. At the same time as they're trying to pass the assisted dying bill. If you want to look, I forgot who said this. If you want to look at a country and how good it is, I'm paraphrasing. You look at how it treats its old and its children. That's how you look at it. And we are now basically giving people the right to kill themselves because they get old, and people the right to kill children legally. There was nothing wrong with the existing abortion laws. I'm not one who wades into the abortion debate a lot because I could never experience it and what, the traumas it brings and everything like that. But to legalize this, and it's that Stella Creasy woman again. She's a very dangerous, horrible, evil woman, that Stella Creasy. And honestly, I don't know what to say about it. It made me so angry to see it. And like you, I couldn't believe the majority it got to get through Parliament. That decisions like this, literally life and death decisions, should be put to a referendum of the country. And these people would then be told, I tell you now, this country would not have voted for that. They would never have got that. You'd have seen at least 70-30, if not more.
They've already done polls. They've done polls on it. Only 3% of the population agree.
Yeah, there you go. There is no way that they got this past the public. It's despicable. And if any, this started with COVID, when people were able to start sending off for the morning after pill, etc., all through the post. And now it's carried on ever since. They've never stopped it. And the amount of women and young girls taking these pills because I've gone out on a night out, had a one night stand, etc., is disgusting. And like you said, then there's some countries that we look at and we go, God, what a barbaric country. They do this, they do that. Some of these Muslim countries, oh God, they're living in the dark ages. Well, what are we doing now? Exactly the same thing. I'll tell you something for a lot of these Muslim countries that I am guilty of it as well, looking down upon sometimes. They look after their elderly. They don't kill them. If anything, they're treated with a lot of respect in the final years. Now, here's an injection. Stop being a burden on the state. That's how low Britain has sunk today. It makes me sick. These people are just despicable.
No, we've hit. Is this rock bottom? I thought was already at rock bottom, but they've removed the flagging and have taken us another layer down. What's going to happen now is there's going to be a huge backlash now to abortion. I'm actually anti-abortion, not 100%, but 99.9%. I'd like to come back on again. But what's going to happen now is for women who think our current state of play for abortion is about right, under 24 weeks is about right. Over the next few years or next decade, it's going to be heavily reduced. It's going to be heavily reduced now. This has opened debate now nationally about abortion. It's been happening online now for about 5, 6 years, but this is going to be a national debate now, and future governments will start reducing the access to abortion. So people who wanted this, it's going to backfire. We're going to have stricter abortion laws in this country over the next few decades. That will be the outcome of this evil law we passed a few days ago.
I hope you're right. I hope that is the case. Maybe hopefully future governments do start doing that, because I can't think of one single reason for passing this. As I said, I can accept like the extreme example I gave, rape or whatever. I can accept those circumstances, but I can't think of a single reason for allowing this disgusting practice to take place. And we will see extreme examples, like you said, backstreet abortions, etc. We'll see all sorts.
Do you know how many babies we abort in the UK every year?
Oh, I did hear this. Go on, it's horrible, isn't it? Go on.
It's 250,000 a year. 250,000. And do you know what happens? I mean, they're not late term abortions, they're all, I think there's only like 200 late term abortions in the UK a year. But do you know what happens in a late term abortion?
Are you going to go into detail? I think I've got an idea.
So the doctor has to go through the womb, through the vagina, through the womb with a needle. He has to find the baby's heart. He has to inject poison into the baby's heart on a screen so we can see what he's doing. That's to kill the baby. He then has to go in there with forceps and they rip the baby apart in the womb. They break the legs off, the arms off.
Oh, God.
And break the skull in two and pull it out piece by piece. That's a late term abortion.
Oh, dear God.
Horrendous.
It's despicable, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, now that I've cheered you up and set you up for the rest of the weekend, Ash, thank you so much for giving us an update on the state of the political parties and the state of this country. And we're falling deeper and deeper into hell, aren't we?
We are. Let's see if things improve next time we meet up.
Yeah. Christ, I need some good news. Ash, thanks so much.
Yeah. Cheers, Nick. Thank you.
Bye-bye.